What's up, everybody? Big Herc, live with Prison Talk here on this Monday. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Hope you're all ready for Valentine's. You got your little Valentine's you can share that special day with. I got wifey, so I'm gonna do my thing with wifey. But hopefully you have somebody special in your life that you can enjoy Valentine's with. Shout out to everybody who's been supporting us, subscribing to our channel, supporting our Instagram, our Twitter, our SoundCloud, FreshOutSeries. Also for those who have been on Patreon, patreon.com, and supporting the Prison Spread with Chef Big V. We appreciate that. And, everybody who's been, ordering apparel and getting yard time, all that good stuff. We thank you guys. But, let me know what's on your mind today. We can get into some questions. And, a lot of times I try to answer as many questions as possible. But, it only got so many minutes. And I know a lot of times the questions are really moving by so fast. So it's kind of hard to answer all of them. Somebody said, does it get harder does it get harder to do time or easier? To do time, you got to really just kind of like program your mind to deal with the situation you're dealing with. It doesn't really, easier, harder, it's pretty much the same. It's more of a mental challenge, and once you can get them past the mental, you can kind of focus on what you need to do when you get out. You just don't want to ever lose sight of being a free person because, once you lock into being institutionalized, you're pretty much fucked. Shout out to Orange County, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to the Bay Area. Somebody asked, do I live in the Bay Area? I saw a cougar just like yours. No, I'm in LA. So I'm out here. I travel back and forth everywhere, but yeah, I'm out this way. So yeah, man. Cougar's getting a little engine modification right now. So I'll be putting out a car hustle video with the Cougar here in a little bit, and I'll also have the 72 Chevelle. I'll be doing a car hustle video for that pretty soon too. Somebody said, what's the best food you could buy in prison? Shit, man. The best food is probably what they steal out the kitchen. I would say the best food that I bought with the homie Chef V was probably some steak. Some dude stole out the kitchen, and we cooked that thing up, man. And I think we made like some steak enchiladas or something like that, man. But we had like a full meal with steak, rice, beans, and the whole nine. Yeah, it was pretty good. Big Herc, what's up with Benny? Any update on the other guys haven't done updates? No, haven't talked to Benny. Reached out a little while ago. But shout out to Benny. He's doing good. You know what I mean? He's out there doing his thing, staying out the way. I got a follow up coming up with Raw Godbody. We'll be showing that. We went to Iron Addicts Gym. Shout out to Iron Addicts for looking out for us out there in Cerritos. We did a workout at the gym. Did an interview. That'll be coming out real soon. But yeah. Some of the other guys, Cali, we did a follow up a while back. Shout out to Cali Muscle, and yeah. Other than that, man, I'm trying to get a lot of new people. Somebody said, "Where am I from?" I'm from North Highland, Sacramento. Pretty much born and raised to a degree that I moved to L.A., Orange County. So I seen both extremes, the hood, and I've seen urban suburbia and Huntington Beach, surfers and all that good shit. Shout out to Huntington Beach. Yeah, somebody said, if you get life in prison without possibility of parole, do you have any chance of ever getting out like Aaron Hernandez? Life without the possibility is life without the possibility. They expect you, to die in prison. Unless somehow I don't know, state time is a little bit different. I don't know how it works when you go before the parole board, if you can appeal that life without parole. But when they say without parole, that means that you don't get a parole hearing. Therefore, you don't have the opportunity to plead your case. So, yeah, it's Aaron Hernandez, man. I don't know if that cat ever get out, you know what I mean, for what he did, so, or what he was accused of doing or convicted of. But yeah, it's it's a little bit different in the state. Feds, you just do the time. They don't have a parole board. You get out when they say you get out. So that's kind of how it works there. What's up, Big Herc? I'm locked up in San Quentin prison right now. Was wondering if the feds sell Domino's pizza to inmates when there's a food sale. I've never seen Domino's pizza in the feds, but I know that you got guys in there who are making some bomb ass pizzas, you know, I mean, and slanging them, you know. So there are guys in there who specialize in making pizzas, and they get it cracking with the prison spread, you know, type of stuff. You know, you check out our prison spreads. I'm gonna have Chef V put together a pizza. I think he put together one on an older episode, but I'm gonna have him do a new one, and you can see, you know, how he gets down. But yeah, there's guys in there slanging the pizzas. Let me see. Somebody said, "Hey, Big Herc, what's your opinion on compound lifts?" I think compound lifting, when you do supersets or giant sets, you know, supersets, 2 exercises back to back or 3 exercises back to back on a giant set, is a great way to grow. You know, it's a great way to change your workouts up, to shock the muscles. I used to do that a lot when I was younger. Now I do kind of more of a, I superset when I do CrossFit type stuff and polymetrics and stuff like that. And then when I go to the gym, a lot of times I'll try to always keep moving to stay active because I don't lift as heavy as I used to. Somebody said, "Is translating the big hustle inside?" I haven't seen. We used to do legal work in prison, and Chef Big V speaks Spanish, and we used to do work for like a lot of legal entry forms, petitions for paisas and stuff like that who got caught up. And I couldn't speak. I could speak a little bit of Spanish, but he was very fluent, so he would actually do a lot of the translation and stuff for him. So you know, it worked out. But other than that, I haven't really seen a big hustle with it. You know, a lot of times if you do know 2 languages, predominantly English and Spanish, and you got guys who don't know the law, and a lot of times they're looking for somebody to help them out, you could actually capitalize on that. Do you provide jobs for ex-cons if they approach you? I don't really, I don't really have a way to employ ex-cons. I always tell ex-cons that the best thing to do is to focus on whatever ideas that you really like enjoy doing. Like if you have a vision for something, or whether it's, if you like doing construction, drywall, painting cars, fixing up cars, drawing, stuff like that, is to try to create a job which allows you to be self-employed, so that way you don't have to go to somebody looking for a job and have to deal with the fact that you could be fired at any time. So I don't really employ people, but I try to tell people that it's always best to try to create your own job. And somebody said, "Where did my love for cars come from?" I've always been a car nut, growing up, muscle cars. My grandpa had 5 Mustangs when I was growing up, everything from a 64 and a half to a 68. So I grew up around a lot of Fords. And then, growing up in Northern California, the Bay Area, Sacramento, everybody was in the old schools, muscle cars. So we was always in the muscle cars. And I've just always been into cars, man. I love cars. I love driving on the track. I love, fixing them up. It's like a big hobby of mine. It kind of keeps me, keeps my mind going. Somebody said, "Are you open to business ideas in regards to your Fresh Out brand?" Of course, we're always looking for opportunities to expand our brand and to partner with, certain individuals that might have opportunities. It's all about networking. You can't do it by yourself. If you got an idea or you want to conversate on a private level, shoot us an email at FreshOutSeries@gmail.com and we'll holler back. You know what I'm saying? My dream car, Koenigsegg. I'd have to go to Koenigsegg and then maybe the Rimac after that. The electric car, supercar, looks pretty sick. But yeah, that Koenigsegg, man, that shit is no joke. I love that car, and the Pagani is also nice. But I just have to say that's first. Somebody said, "How can I get on the show?" Well, right now, we're actually just based in the LA area. So if you're in LA, you can shoot us an email at FreshOutSeries@gmail.com. We're trying to hit other cities here eventually. We're working on getting the show picked up. With your guys' support and subscribing to the channel, we should hopefully have a network deal real soon. But we're not really traveling too far out of our local demographic unless you're somewhere in California. We might be able to meet part way. But you know, if you like I said, we're always going to be looking for people to show. So if you have an interesting story, something positive to share, shoot us an email, and maybe we can get you on when we even do the network. Somebody said, do I drink or smoke? Nah, I never got into that. I was never one to drink or party like that, man. I used to watch the homies do that shit, and I was like, I grew up and I seen certain things growing up around people with the alcohol and the drugs, and I'm like, man, that ain't for me. Not that I knock it, and I sold a lot of drugs, but I just, what I'm saying, I never got into doing them or drinking, I just was always on some sober time. Auto Solutions, what's happening? I'm in North Highlands. I like what you're doing. Thanks, homie. Good looking. I'm gonna swing through there with my Coug when I come back to town to the visit. Much love, man. Craziest fight scene in prison. Probably the craziest fight that kicked off. Well, one time when I was in Rampart, they had a big ass riot with the Serranos and the DC guys. And there was probably, there's a couple hundred Serranos, and there was probably 50 or 60 DC dudes, and these DC dudes held their own, man. It was crazy, man. This shit was jumping off on the yard, man. Them motherfuckers it was going at it, man. But, cats from DC was like, they about their business, man. I can't take them away from them. I was cool with a lot of them, and, I knew a few Serranos too, but yeah, some shit kicked off there. And they were shooting on the yard and some shit. Locked it down for a little while. It's pretty crazy. Transfer a lot of people. It's pretty wild. That was probably, I was in Rampart 2000, 2001. I think that was maybe 2001. I'm not sure. 2000, 2001. Somebody says, what's your take on secret societies like Illuminati? Well, the Illuminati, you got, the Bilderberg Society. You have, a lot of these different, high-powered cliques. My take on them is that, I'm not really, I don't have firsthand experience. I just have read books and stuff about them. But, everybody's got their own thing, man. It's no different than like some of these gangs, which just aren't as politically connected or wealthy. But these guys are doing things on a high power level, and it's for, self-empowerment, wealth, and just basically control. So, they're going down out there. But, it's I don't know. I've never been a part of a secret society, and I don't really know anybody firsthand who would speak on something like that to put their business out there. Most of the people are pretty secretive, and if they are going to like the World Economic Summit or something like that, unless you're tied into that, you don't really know what the hell they're talking about anyways. Have you seen the HBO fictional prison series Oz? If have, what do you think of it? Oz, man, I've seen just a couple episodes. I didn't even watch it, man. I was in prison when that shit was jumping off. I hated watching prison shows in prison. It's like, it's depressing, man. I'm already in prison. I'm not going to watch another prison show, even though I did watch some Prison Break because he was trying to escape. So that was kind of like, oh, man, this guy can possibly get out of prison. But a lot of the shit, man, they dramatize, man. I mean, and a lot of the shit that's going on, they got cameras everywhere. The camp's a little bit more wide open, but in USP, man, when shit goes down, somebody gets stabbed, they just go back and look at all the tapes. And they try to match it up, and that's how, shit goes down, man. It's just, they got a lot of cameras, so a lot of the shit you see people doing, there is blind spots, motherfuckers in the bathroom, and maybe a law library or over here, but there's, windows they can see, they try to keep everything wide open so everybody can see what you're doing. How do you deal with fear in prison as far as intimidation? You don't, fear or intimidation. I mean, fear is a natural emotion. So when you're in prison and you're dealing with, like, say, just the uncertain, it's no different than if you're in the military and you're going into battle, or you're getting deployed and you're in Iraq or Afghanistan, and you got to deal with a situation. It's your life or theirs. You know what I mean? You trying to come home safe, and you basically put all that shit to the side. I mean, initially you might be like, oh man, a little nervous or whatever, but you don't never let that show. You just kind of handle your business. So it's something you naturally deal with regardless, but you just overlook that. Somebody said, how tall are my meters? I'm about 6 foot as far as in inches. Um, so do you like police in general, or do you hate them? I don't have any hate for really anybody, man. I hate when people are discriminated against, or people are oppressed for no reason. It's just like when you pick out a certain group of people and you decide to oppress that group of people for your empowerment. I think that's fucked up, man. I've met some cool popos, and I've seen some. I've been in the back of their car and I've seen them slap the shit out of my homeboy and just look at me like, did you see that? And I just sat there. So I've seen some shit, man. I've seen people get fucked up, and I've seen some people do some other shit that kind of constituted getting fucked up. But it's the whole thing with, I think it's all about communication between the police and just getting out of racist shit, man. You know what I mean? It's like, why do you hate somebody? Why do you gonna judge somebody because of the color of their skin? So I think the more or less the police issue, a lot of it's racism, man, because you got racist people joining the police department so they can exploit the neighborhoods, whether it be black or Mexican. So that's what I think, man. I think the whole thing with that is it's just fucked up as far as that's concerned, because of just the whole race thing, man. And they need to bridge that gap. And I know California is a little bit more diversified than a lot of the places down south, but I just think it's just the way people are prejudged. It's pretty sad, man, in this country. Somebody said, did Big V ever get caught smuggling food back to the cell? What would be the punishment? Big V, he usually did the cooking. I was usually the smuggler, because I had the dun-ta-duns, you know what I'm saying? I had the dun-ta-duns, and I would have the dun-ta-duns over the boxers, and Big V would do a distraction. He might act like he got a banana and let him physically see the banana, and they would stop him, and then I would follow after that and then get a pass. Usually, if you were stealing food out of the kitchen, you got to time it. There were usually maybe 4 guards out there, and you want to time it to where all 3 or 4 of them are searching somebody when you make that move, because otherwise they might just pull you. I mean, I got caught with food maybe once or twice, but other than that, I pretty much made it back to the unit all the time. Somebody said, are cop killers respected? I haven't seen anything with that in prison as far as, being respected. I ran across some cats that did a drug deal, and they thought that they were robbing a drug dealer, and they shot and killed a DEA agent. And I don't think they got any more respect than the next person. So I didn't see that really benefiting them as far as them killing a DEA agent. And then they got fucking, these dudes got, I think, 100 years, so they weren't ever coming home. It says, do you think it's possible to reach set tripping gang members that are knee deep already, or just focus on preventing the younger kids from falling into the trap? I think, man, the youth is our future. You got to focus on the young people who are right at that verge, 12, 11, 13, the guys who are knee deep in it, who believe in that, who are just career gang members. That's just what they're going to do, man. I mean, every now and then you get somebody who gets out, who breaks the mold, but unless you have a change in environment, the thing is, the longer you sit in prison and you're oppressed and you're basically dealing with a savage environment or barbaric environment, you have a tendency to take on certain characteristics. So kids who are living in a certain neighborhood, who are dealing with certain obstacles, whether it be family issues, issues at school, learning disabilities, unless they get help and can get put into a different environment, which allows them to grow as a human being, it's a lost race, man. There's no way you can change this cycle we have unless you actually, if you want to do something, you got to move your kids up out the neighborhood, man, and spend the money and send them to a charter school. Get them the fuck up out of there. You know what I'm saying? So it's that's the only way I see, these kids, the young kids getting out of gangs, is to put them around an environment where they realize that shit doesn't have any place in society as far as growth or economics or just your well-being, because doing time, man, I've been doing time since I was fucking 15, man, and it's fucking, I never wanted to go to jail, man, but I went, and then I went, and then I went. It's like, fuck, you know what I'm saying? So wasn't nothing cool about that. Uh, Somebody said, what is DC? DC is the District of Columbia. Um, what are the craziest crime I've heard of people commit? The craziest crime. Shit. Oh. Well, the craziest, the craziest is one of the cats I did time with. These dudes were straight squares, worked as security guards at a motherfucking club, and they had a homeboy that worked at a money depot. It wasn't even a bank; it was a fucking depot. And man, the dude got a hair up his ass to rob the place, man, and they didn't even have to. Basically, it was only two people guarding millions of dollars, and these cats did a lick, man, and got away with fucking 18 or 19 million without even just tying up two people, man, and basically just taking their time, loading up a fucking U-Haul full of money. Crazy case, man. Dude got away, they got out, was kicking him for a while, and eventually got popped. But he's out now, I imagine. Did like 9 years, but they didn't find the majority of the money. So it was pretty crazy, man. But that was like, when dude told me he had so much money that they basically had to leave money, it was crazy. They had garbage bags full of cash. Garbage bags. He said there was still more money there. They couldn't take it all. That's crazy. Shout out to Brooklyn. Shout out to New York. Shout out to Atlanta. Shout out to Chi-Town. Shout out to Detroit. Shout out to Miami, Florida. Shout out to Houston, H-Town, Dallas. You know what I'm saying? Oregon, Portland, Seattle, to the homies out in Seattle. Somebody said, did you snitch? That's why I only got 9 years. Nah, nigga, did you snitch? Are you a snitch? Snitching, you don't get 120 months for snitching, nigga. Bank robbery carries 7 years in the feds, another 3 years for 4 to 5 years for a gun. So I filed my aiding and abetting. I was looking at 12 years. I did my 120 months, nigga, and got out, nigga. So you better check yourself, nigga, because if you go up in there, you might be giving up them butt cheeks. Shout out to Flagstaff. Shout out to New Orleans. You know what I'm saying? Do I take fan pictures of fans approach me? Yeah, I took a picture with a fan before. You know what I'm saying? I'm not funny style like that. You know what I'm saying? I give everybody some love. Shout out to the 504. What would you say is the main reason why the majority of Hispanics in the U.S. don't prosper? They are the minority least likely to finish high school with the lowest levels of wealth and in the inner city. Well, shout out to Ireland. Shout out to 619. Oh, hold on. Somebody said they told me they would give me no time if I snitch. I got 9 years. No, they didn't ask me. They didn't give me no snitch opportunity, and I wasn't gonna snitch anyways. You know what I mean? They always get motherfuckers in there and try to see if you could tell about something that's going on. But what you gonna get from that? You gonna send another motherfucker in there because you fucked up? You was doing dirt. You knew the risk, and that's part of it. But yeah, I don't know anything about what type of what they call that a 5K or something like that. Niggas telling this shit. No, I don't know anything about that. But anyways, I'm not excuse me for jumping around, but I'm not Mexican. Or excuse me, Hispanic. I'm not Hispanic, so I can't speak I can't speak from a personal point of view because culturally it's different. I would say it's different than me as far as because I'm American, but I'm black. And shout out to Stockton. Blacks don't prosper because we get stuck in the I'm keeping a real scenario, and economically we don't expand ourselves to be more productive as far as integrating into mainstream society to take on job opportunities that's not in our immediate surroundings. The thing about life and economics and becoming wealthy and successful is challenging yourself, getting out of your environment that you grew up in, if it wasn't a good environment, and elevating up above and beyond that. If you've seen the movie Fences, you see how Denzel was knocking his son because he didn't make it to the MLB, Major League Baseball. So he didn't want him to go and play college football. That's the problem. A lot of times, parents hinder their kids from growing and becoming successful because they don't give me support. You should always want your kids to be more well off than you were, more successful than you. You should always inspire them, no matter what they tell you they want to do. You should say, "Hey, man, you can do that." But a lot of times, people don't do that, man. They don't support their kids, and therefore, by not supporting their kids let their dreams fall down to the wayside. You got to support your kids' dreams. Shout out to North Carolina. Shout out to Livermore. Shout out to Fresno. Hey, I'm not knocking Fence as a movie. It was good, man, but I know black people like that, man. It's fucked up, man. A lot of black men, especially from the South, man, who have this chip on their shoulder, and they don't feel that you should be more successful than they were. I have a motherfucking relative right now, a cold uncle that's like that, man, hating because I'm out here doing good. It's like motherfuckers think that just because you do time, you should get out and be catching a bus. Nah, if you're a born hustler, a born go-getter, ain't nothing gonna hold you down. You just need opportunity. So, and you create those. So as far as just like in general, just the different races, a lot of times it's family members hating because they don't want to see you balling harder than they're balling. So watch out for them snakes in the grass. Yeah, man, it's crazy, man. Especially when you see a lot of time what people put their energy into. And 5K1, there you go, about the far as snitching. You could waste a lot of time, your most valuable commodity, not money. So once you realize how to manage your time, you'll be a lot more successful, and you can focus on expanding your ideas and your visions and basically the opportunities that are around you. Because a lot of times you're not even capitalized on the opportunities around you, man. You're just, you're basically treading water and shit. So somebody said, what inspired me to start Fresh Out? Well, doing all this time in prison, 120 months, 8 years, 8 months, as far as, with the halfway house, when I was in prison, I thought about what I was going to do when I got out. I went to prison when I was 25. I got out when I was 34. So, I missed a big chunk of time. Didn't have no kids, didn't acquire no property, didn't have no assets. So I had to start from scratch, man. And I figured, man, if I can get out and start this show, and I'm seeing how people are fascinated with cops, I'm like, fuck, I need to do a prison show about guys getting out and showing their transition into society and what they're dealing with, because there are a lot of successful people who went to prison and got out, but society likes to focus on the knuckleheads because it makes it seem like the system's working. And it's not working, you know what I mean? It's no rehabilitation. You got to rehabilitate yourself. But yeah, when I was walking the yard, man, I was already kind of like, I still had visions of doing, Hollywood dreams type stuff and basically, building my own entertainment empire. I'm like, I figured Fresh Out would be my first thing I create, and I hooked up my business partner when I got out, and we made it happen. My advice to somebody about to graduate college, man, try to reach out to your alumni at your college, man, for a job connection. College now, man, you got to have damn near a doctorate, man, and even that doesn't guarantee you anything. I mean, an MBA, get you, high, maybe, 150, 250,000 a year before taxes. But the thing is, college now, everybody's going to college, man. There's a lot of competition. So usually I would say, reach out to your alumni, start developing your contacts. You got friends or family members that have that work at certain places, man. That way, when you turn in your application to H&R, you don't have to go through the bullshit. It's no different than being out here in Hollywood trying to go to an audition. If you got a good agent, you might audition as a formality, but a lot of times you'll just get the job. You know what I mean? So that's like a big thing, is having a connection, man. Work on your contacts. You could be smart as shit, but if you ain't got no contacts, man, you are pretty much fucked. Have you ever came to Salinas, California? Yeah, I came to Salinas. I've been through there. Went to Pebble Beach and shit, Monterey. I've drove through there. Um, but it was cool. Are people who PC up automatically considered snitches? Nah, but if you PC up, people are going to know why you PC'd up. You know what I'm saying? You don't just roll up on a yard and say, oh, I'm going to PC up. You know what I'm saying? So you got to have a reason for PCing up, because if you were just, I've seen motherfuckers who ain't even, ain't no super big motherfucker, or, somebody who's, just no Debo and nothing, and they survive on the prison yard main line. So you mind your business, you ain't got nothing to worry about. So, only to go to college for a step next term. Somebody said, can you smoke medical weed in prison? I never heard of that one. I mean, since this is all the marijuana stuff has changed since I've been out, so I can't really call that. I don't know if that has changed now, but I doubt it. I don't think they're going to do is blow weed up in prison. Have I ever seen a transgender in prison? Yup. There was a transgender Hawaiian at one of the spots I was at, and they used to be, doing their thing, braiding hair and shit, and prancing around there in tight little clothes and shit. And I didn't see anything freaky go down, but there was a transgender in there, and motherfuckers is like, some motherfuckers used to, chop it up with her, him, but I never really had too much interaction. You know what I'm saying? They kind of, did their thing, and this motherfucker was kind of big, so it wasn't like you was gonna run up on him, because you might get knocked the fuck out. It was big. I know, band of trolls, man. These motherfucking trolls, man. They crack me up, man. They actually wait till 3:00 to get on here to talk shit. You know what I mean? Never been to Germany, but I want to go. I want to take a trip to Europe. I want to get on the Autobahn. I want to fucking maybe get on. That'd be nice if I can do a lap on the Nürburgring track there. You know what I mean? Because I'm in the cars. Well, who was the funniest cat I ever met in prison? Shit, man. I can't recall. The funniest dude I met in prison. You got some clowns in there, man. You got some dudes, man. You got a lot of people in prison that are mentally off anyways. They're kind of off, man. Dudes ain't wrapped too tight. But I think there's this one cat. He used to always be cracking jokes and shit, man, and just doing way out shit. But then he would always get in arguments with people, and then the shit would almost turn into a fight where they're gonna stick each other. So, on one end the dude was funny, but then he didn't know when to stop, and it'd become confrontational. But yeah, he was pretty crazy. A little short motherfucker, man. He had been back and forth to the feds. I think it was the second trip, and then I heard when I got out, he went back again. So, dude, he was just like a little, I don't know, man. It's a little miserable motherfucker, man. But he was cool, but at the same time, he was like, this dude, you could tell he bad news, man. You wouldn't want him at your house. Motherfucker might pop out the cabinet or something on your ass. Was there a lot of border brothers in the feds? Yeah, depending on what institution you're at. Dumbest criminal story? Shit, man. The dumbest is probably, a motherfucker gets raided and they find drugs, guns, paraphernalia, but don't show you no motherfucking warrant, and you claim that all the drugs and everything in the house is yours. Now, come to find out that they didn't even have a search warrant for that premises, so you could have beat the case for basically illegal search and seizure. So that shit, dude, now he's doing a bunch of time because he, instead of keeping his mouth shut and talking to a lawyer, you don't ever get arrested and talk to the police. Keep your motherfucking mouth shut, my nigga. Talk to your lawyer. Don't talk to no police, no detectives. When you get cracked for something, keep your motherfucking mouth shut, man. That's the best, best advice I can give you, man. Don't talk to the police. But, yeah, you got to know your rights, man. You know what I mean? You gotta, plead the fifth, man. Don't get in there and do that first 48 type bullshit. What's the most cowardly shit you seen there in there, big homie? Most cowardly shit I've seen. Um, I remember one time I seen a nigga. This was when I was in YA though. I seen a nigga, a crip nigga, peed on this other nigga, man, and the nigga didn't do nothing in the shower, man. I would have had to beat the nigga ass naked and pull his dick off. You know what I'm saying? But he let a nigga pee on him in the shower, golden shower, in the shower. And nigga just kind of looked at him and shit and didn't tell. I was like, oh, this nigga, he talk all this. He a punk. And niggas like just straight disrespecting him. You know what I'm saying? So that's like the crazy shit I've seen. A nigga getting peed on. Um, what's a border brother? That's if you're Hispanic, it's somebody who's and there's a gang border brother. They came across the border and they're clicked up and they got their own little thing going. But it's they got it's a Hispanic that's clicked in with the border brothers. I can't really speak on detail because I wasn't a border brother. Did I ever beat a chomo? Never ran across. No, never had opportunity to beat a chomo, but there was a chomo up in there. This cat, and they found out that he was on some bullshit, and that he had a case where he was actually had got caught up with some kiddie porn or some shit, and he at first he was trying to be cool, but when they found out, this motherfucker, as soon as they found out, he walked straight to the lieutenant and checked himself in. If you find out somebody's a chomo and you're socializing with him, you can get fucked up. You know what I mean? So yeah. You don't want to fuck with if you find out a motherfucker on some bullshit, if you got a celly and you find out he's gay, you better get the fuck out the cell. I don't care if he's cool with you or not, but you gotta change cellies because motherfucker gonna think you suspect if you're in there chilling with a homosexual. You know what I mean? Not to say that hey man, you can still be cool with him and keep it at a distance, but in prison you ain't bunking up with a homosexual unless you are considered suspect, and they're gonna think at the least he's sucking on your pee pee. Have I ever seen a nervous breakdown inside? How do they recover? Nervous breakdowns in prison? Yeah, I've seen a motherfucker lose it, man. My co-defendant, man. When we first got arrested, man. High speed chase. You can check out my story on www.FreshOutSeries.com. But had a high speed chase, man. Got arrested, and one of my co-defendants, man, when he first got arrested, the cops, detective put him aside, and nigga spilled the beans, man. But I never knew he spilled the beans until I got the discovery after we were fighting our case. And then I'm thinking, man, I can't even fight the case, man, because this motherfucker told. And then he felt hella bad, man, and fucking he was only gonna get 7 years. Well, because he felt so guilty for telling, he took his plea back, and man, the nigga ended up getting like 18 years, man, 17 years, and stopped showering in prison. I heard he did a lot of his time at a mental institution, and the Charlie Satterman story, check it out on Prison Talk, man. And a dude was living homeless on Skid Row. When he got out, man, he fucking lost it. And this dude was a playboy when I first met him, man, back in 2000, man. But doing a time broke him down. He ended up getting shot by the LAPD down there, man. So, I'm the only one still alive out of my case. The other crime, he caught lupus and he died. So, shit happens, man. You got to really value life, man. Youngest inmate I ever knew, I mean, in jail, the youngest motherfucker is 18, man. You see 18-year-olds come up in there, bank robbery, selling drugs. And I mean, in YA, I seen a cat that was 13, and he asked me, he's like, hey, Big Herc, how many top ramen should I eat a day to get big, And it was sad, man. This motherfucker was like looking at, he was probably had no family or maybe had, drug user parents. So he, basically he was just 13, man. What the fuck was he doing? But, that guy might not get out of YA until he's 25. And at that point, you're institutionalized, man. It takes if you're young like that and you get caught up in the system, man, it's hard to break that motherfucking cycle, man. It's fucked up, man. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not reading, and you got the big homie. You got dudes trying to boss you around, and why, man? It's a lot more intense because these youngsters are they wilding out, man. These motherfuckers are savages. Um, Shout out to Australia, oldest prisoner I've ever seen. Oldest prisoner. Shit, I don't know, man. Maybe late 70s, early late 70s or something like that. I would think. A lot of times when you get to a certain age, they send you to a medical facility so you can get the proper care because they don't want to have the liability on their hands if something happens to you. So they're not going to keep you in a regular facility. They'll send you to a medical institution. So super really guys who are really old, I didn't really see a lot of those on the main line. You know, a lot of times they ship them guys out. What business or world leaders do you follow? What businesses? As far as business, the tech industry, I try to keep up on that because I got some stuff I'm working on in the tech industry. I try to keep up with just what's going on with the natural resources and shit like that. Read up on just different things happening in Silicon Valley. Things on here and there on Wall Street. I do watch some gossip shit. When I'm vegging out, but I try to stay abreast on what's going on in the news and to keep my business sense savvy so that I can invest or get involved in something that's going to take off. What reputation does Florence, Colorado have in prison? I've never been there, but Florence, Colorado, it gets down. It rocks. You know what I'm saying? It's a USP. They got a USP. I think they got a medium too, but I heard a USP. The shit kicks off, man. Motherfuckers doing a hard time in there and they ain't playing no games. A little bit different. Rampart kicks off too, but I heard Florence. They be getting down up in there. Are drugs sold in jail, Big Herc? Yep. All the time. It being brought in by, it'd be smuggled through visitors, through guards, through whatever means. But yeah, man, drugs are a big part of prison, man. And it's whoever controls the drugs, a lot of times control the prison. So that's like a big factor whenever, you are talking about an institution and who has the power there. Somebody says, how well would pro fighters do in prison fights? If you can get out, a lot of dudes is, prison fighting is dirty. So, if you're trying to come in here and I seen a dude, they said something about he told on somebody or did something and they didn't have no proof and he dudes trying to rush him and he knew some MMA shit and he fucked them up. He's a trainer of BJ Penn and he twisted their ass up in the cell. So, if you got a little bit of skill set, a lot of times you got motherfuckers who are big, but they ain't got no fucking win. They just big for nothing. They walk around huffing and puffing. Them loud motherfuckers, man, they get served. So if you got any type of hands and, you know how to move around and you ain't scared, then fuck, you going to be all right, Let's go if you ever heard of. Somebody said that my friend wanted me to ask you a few weeks ago if you ever heard of Bloody Beaumont. No, I've heard of Beaumont, the institution. I never been there, but I never heard of Bloody Beaumont. Big homie, are there Crip or Blood lawyers or police or even COs? Well, when you first get locked up, they ask you who you want to sell up with. Are you associated with any gangs, Crip or Blood, GD, Vice Lord, whatever the case may be. If you're Hispanic, North Daniel, Serrano. I haven't seen any COs that are Crip or Blood or Crip or Blood lawyers, but there's lawyers about their bread, man. They gonna prostitute themselves out wherever they can get that money. Some of them might be more favorable to other gangs or partial to other gangs than others. I know there at certain institutions, certain guards are more partial to certain gang members. They'll do favors for them, but I haven't seen any guard or lawyer outright claiming a gang. What happens if you break a bone? Do they treat you? Yeah. Yeah. One time I was working out and I strained my motherfucking elbow, and within an hour and a half, I was already at the hospital getting an MRI. So, they do at certain institutions handle business. But I seen one of the reasons why they moved me so quick was because I used to drop a lot of paperwork. So because of liability reasons, they probably took me a little bit faster than the average person. But I've seen a lot of guys, they give you tell you take some Tylenol. But if you break a bone, most likely they will get you up out of there, and get you some medical help. Um, do you think the Cash Me Outside girl will end up in prison one day? Oh yeah, the Cash Me Out one girl, the girl off of the talk show. It's hard to say, man. I mean, these kids nowadays, they want to be so bad, and everybody wants to be, a tough guy or tough girl. And I think, it's a big it's a misconception, you know what I mean? Because once you get put in a situation, then you have to adapt to it. But then if you get an opportunity to get out, then you got to unadapt to being that person you were inside. And a lot of times people can't separate the two. So, these kids, man, once they get caught up and then they keep, they get on probation and they have to piss test and do all this stuff, man, it just becomes a cycle. And a lot of times it's hard to break that cycle, man. And, you start using drugs to deal with it, and it's just a downward spiral from there. But, yeah. Hey, man, it's been fun with y'all. Thanks for the questions. Shout out to the trolls who like to talk shit. Chom John put you on blast right now. Yeah, man, much love to you guys who have been putting together some positive questions, asking some intelligent things, and I would like to keep everybody in the loop. We'll be doing Prison Talk again next Monday. Check out our website, www.FreshOutSeries.com. Check out our SoundCloud, FreshOutSeries. Check out our Instagram and our Twitter. And I'll be back at y'all, man. Check out Chef B on Patreon, man, with the prison spreads. You guys support. He's doing his thing on there. And, we'll get some car hustles going for you guys soon. And, keep up the questions, and keep telling your friends and family to subscribe. We appreciate it. And good looking out.